The Justin Robert Young program is brought to you by people like you. Patreon.com/JuRY. Yes, this is how I make my living, by depending on the kindness of strangers. So what do you say you head over there right now? If you dig this show, you can kick a little scratch in and help me make rent. Here's another way that you can give me money. And this is a better way because it doesn't require that you pay any money that you ain't already spent. If you have Amazon Prime, then I want you to head on over to justinryoung.tv. When you go to justinryoung.tv, it's going to take you to my Twitch page. Right at the top, and I've gotten a few emails about this, you go ahead and hit subscribe, and it should walk you through how to connect your Amazon Prime account with your Twitch account. If you got to set up a Twitch account, it'll walk you through that too. You can subscribe with Twitch Prime. That is free money, folks. Free money in my pocket. You already spent it, but it literally just goes away unless you give it to me. So what do you say? And if you gave it to me last month, do it again this month because it doesn't auto-renew. Oh, friends, supporting the program has never been easier thanks to Amazon Prime. So go ahead and do all those things. Patreon.com/JuRY and supporting with Twitch Prime. Enough of talking about how we support the show, though. Oh, what do you say we just do the damn thing? Who's ready for another episode of the Justin Robert Young program? Hello, 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 dear friends. My name is Justin Robert Young. It's not just a clever name. Welcome. We are continuing. We are efforting this new format of the show, which is very email heavy. But I'm going to warn you guys. We are on the precipice. Because if this show isn't good and this show doesn't generate new kinds of questions or people emailing in for advice or thoughts on world events, then this might be the last email version of the show because we got a shit ton of email. The only problem is 90% of them are songs that you would want to torture people if you put them on 50 times on a jukebox. So we hit a rich vein with that, and we've got some great places to take it in this show. But I don't know how much longer this can solely be a show dedicated totally to the practice, research, and development of torturing people with shitty songs on a jukebox. In fact, I don't even know if there are enough jukeboxes in America, nay, the world, to warrant this kind of research. So, here's what I'm going to say. There's a high likelihood that this show is going to be bad. It's because I was up late last night going to the Kendrick Lamar show, Oracle Arena, My voice is blown out. I don't know if you guys can tell. For whatever reason, I feel like it would be better if I know this is the wrong show for this, but I kind of welcome back. Dear listeners, I have no clue if doing this impression is good or bad for the state that my voice is in right now. My instinct is, as I speak to you through this golden microphone, the millennial Rich Little, my instinct, dear listeners, is to say that this is already in the register that my tattered and worn voice is already. Yes, snurdly, I know. I'm not sure whether at the end of this impression, which I don't know how long it will go, by the way, because my instinct is to tell you all about my review of the Kendrick Lamar, the TDE Championship Tour in my Rush Limbaugh voice. The show was begun with JuRY, whom I was unfamiliar with. Here's another thing that began this show. It is something that I have never in my entire life, as I held my ticket with my formerly tobacco-stained fingers, the vanguard of podcast intellectualism. I have never in my life, in going to concerts writ large and rap concerts specifically, never had a show start on time. Rap shows notoriously are late. I kind of feel like this is also, I'm going to go back to the Rush Limbaugh impression, but I kind of feel like this is like a coded racial take that Rush Limbaugh would have if he went to rap concerts. Anyway, all right, I'm going back. JuRY, fantastic. He's then followed by Schoolboy Q, SZA, and Pulitzer Kenny. If you're unfamiliar, the album Damn by Kendrick Lamar has recently won a Pulitzer. Well-deserved. A fantastic show. And also, this was a real boon. As I am getting older, never in my life have I felt older. Snurdly, seriously, I know. I have gray hair now, and I do impressions of people that were at the peak of their fame 10 to 15 years ago. Maybe even earlier. We had seats right next to the exit. This was a thrill to me because I was able to pee whenever I wanted. These were not considerations when I was in my 20s. And now, at the ripe old age of 35, I've found myself guiding all potential decisions for anything that involves an elongated performance based on how much effort I need to put into going to pee. Very exciting. Kendrick Lamar and the entire TDE family put on a great show, and I would highly recommend that you go see this show when it comes to your area. We'll be right back. Knots does point out in the chat room that a rap concert does not start late, nor does it start early. It starts precisely when it means to be. Home theaters took off because of men in their 30s needing the pee. Look, this is a consideration. And look, I don't think that the Russian impression ruined my voice. Good to know. We're doing science here on the podcast, and I am thrilled to be conducting these experiments. So the TDE show is fantastic. Go see it. In all honesty, that was like the most production that I've ever seen put into a rap show. Like it had like coherent theatricality. It was like pop star level kind of production, which I was very happy about. Because even I didn't go to see the Watch the Thrones tour or the most recent Kanye tour where he had the floating stage, which are, as I've been led to believe, kind of the high watermarks for rap production. But I do know that neither of those shows started on time. That I know for sure. There's no show with Jay-Z and Kanye West that starts on time. Let's go ahead and get into your emails. Trench, big shout out to Trench, one of our regular emails here on the program. He writes that Jezebel, you guys might have remembered that a couple weeks ago we spent a lot of time on some beef between children. Specifically, the Cash Me Outside, How About That girl, Bad Baby, a.k.a. Danielle Berjoli, versus Whoa Vicky. And as we played some of those clips, we all realized that we are shambling skeletons and that the future of our human race is indeed something that we should all be terrified about. But probably the most terrifying element was the fact that Whoa Vicky, a white girl who drops the N-word repeatedly and is a motivational speaker, has an even younger, even shit-talkier. Shit-talkier? Sounds like a city in Long Island. Well, I grew up in Shiitake. A shit-talkier 9-year-old friend named Lil Tay. Now, at the age of 9, you cannot have your own Instagram. That violates the terms of service. Nor can you have a Twitter, nor can you have a Facebook. And yet she has all of them. So the question asked by Special Projects Desk writer Anna Merlin is, who the fuck is running Lil Tay's career? And how much of Lil Tay is actually Lil Tay and how much is being written for her? What they find is that there is a lot of managing to her, but nobody really has any interest in talking about it unless they're getting paid. So in reporting it, they published this and then wound up getting an email back with questions answered by Lil Tay's manager, ? Somebody that insists he's not her manager. We read now. Earlier today, Jezebel published a look at the people behind Lil Tay, a 9-year-old girl and controversial Instagram personality whose fame is the result of participating in some extremely adult beefs. Shortly after the story was published, Alex Goller-Gelbard, who works with Tay in some kind of management capacity, answered a few questions that we had. It was a wild ride. Gelbard, who goes by Alex or Loyalty G. Gelbard, or who goes by Alex or Loyalty G on most platforms, tells us that his core focus is, quote, brand development, multimedia production, and artist management. He also says that he's not Lil Tay's manager, despite having identified himself on the first time that we spoke as Alex, the manager for Lil Tay. So here were the questions. When asking who shaped her persona, he responded that she's self-made, adding, "She's a bright, edgy, and powerful youth who knows exactly what she wants. She is driven and motivated and desires that her friends, fans, and followers received inspiration from her bold, expressive approach. Tay has considered a future path for a new form of progressive motivational speaking, referencing her own personal success and showing others how they can emulate this through developing self-confidence." Mush Potatoes in the chat says, "I feel bad for Lil Tay. She's going to be Macaulay Culkin in several years." I think you are gravely underestimating how much money Macaulay Culkin made compared to how much money Lil Tay might be making. Because if she's 9 years old and she has multiple people on her staff, I can almost guarantee you that any money she's making right now won't live to see her become double digits. That shit is gone. This has all the hallmarks of a bunch of adults hoovering this cash off a 9-year-old while she yells into her phone for her Instagram account. Here's another question. "I was curious to know Lil Tay's use of the N-word and a reference to dope and trap houses. I asked Gelbart if he thinks that she understands what she's saying and was met with another wall of impenetrable buzzwords. I think there's a generational disconnect as well as a lapse in understanding of the current direction of content and multimedia delivery. Lil Tay is no different than any other youth star or celebrity. The only contrast is that the platform in which she delivers herself. In the past, youth interested in seeking out a career in the entertainment industry would be forced to work with the control and constraints of massive media outlets that would have full reign and control over nearly all aspects of her talent." He then goes on to say, "Lil Tay is unique, but just as edgy in comparison to the likes of other youth stars that have pushed the edges of entertainment and media, such as the likes of Hit Girl, played by Chloe Grace Moretz in the film Kick-Ass, or Ronnie Shields, playing Bobby J. Thompson in the film Role Models. These youths pushed boundaries." Do you hear that? Do you hear that? This is Lil Tay screaming into her phone the N-word, talking about dope and trap houses as a 9-year-old is the same thing as Hit Girl and the little kid in Role Models, a.k.a. kids who cursed. And what fucks me up about that answer is I don't know if I agree with him, because I kind of do. Like, yes, it would require you understanding that she is a fictional character, but the idea here is that the interplay of, well, she looks real, she feels real, she'll probably yell and scream, "I am real," but she's not. Like, where is that line? Wouldn't it make us all more comfortable if we thought of her as a child actress and not just a feral animal running around the hillsides of Southern California? It would just, at the very least, it would make her trauma something more common, right? You know, there are, throw a stone in any town and you're going to find some dance mom who's all on top of their kid trying to push them into something that they otherwise wouldn't necessarily give a fuck about. Well, let me ask the parents. Just the parents. What would you feel more comfortable with? Your child and let's put them in the age of 9 or 10, your child just picking up a phone and screaming the N-word into it and becoming very famous, or going to a casting call where they're asking for somebody, an actress or actor, to play the role of a rambunctious youth, and the lines that are said just happen to be the N-word and stuff about trap houses and dope. What would make you more comfortable? You have to do one. So don't get me these emails with you parents like, I would never let them do either. It's one of them's happening, all right? That's it. You can't opt out. You got to tell me which one you would prefer. I guess really the difference in there is that there's more culpability on the parent if you're signing your kid up to be an actor, right? But that's you making a decision to have them read these lines. You are becoming an active participant in a way that them going behind your back and building a career or some level of fame by doing things that you disapprove of would not. So, in fact, here, I'll tell you what, age them up a little bit. So it's not 9 or 10. Now it's 13. So they're allowed to be on the platform. It does not violate the terms of service for them to be on the platform. What would you feel more comfortable with? Your child gaining Lil Tay-esque social media fame or Whoa Vicky-esque social media fame by him or herself, or you bringing him into a casting call, you getting all these scripts, you helping them run lines. Okay, honey? All right, so just say it. You have to say it back to me. The line is, I be making money. I'm richer than all you hoes. You hoes don't know nothing about this life. Fuck all y'all hoes. So say that back. No, but go up on fuck all you, like fuck all you hoes. So yeah, you just gotta go fuck, like just say fuck, yeah, like that. Great job. Great job. Great job. They're gonna be so impressed. You're doing a great job. Like, that seems weird too. And that would be the more, based on the feedback that I'm getting in the chat room right now. Oh my God, wait, hold on. We have breaking news. We have fucking breaking news here. Holy shit. Holy shit. This is today, literally, like as we speak. This was just posted on hotnewhiphop.com. It seems as if two of the internet's most hated personalities have landed themselves in trouble one day after another. Yesterday, we reported that Whoa Vicky is potentially being investigated by police for her threats against Snoop Dogg. That's a fun sentence. And now we find out that Vicky's buddy and the equally bratty Lil Tay has to face some consequences for her obnoxious antics as well. A few months ago, Lil Tay began to gain traction as an internet personality. Since fighting with Bad Baby at an outdoor shopping mall, Lil Tay has seen her Instagram following dramatically increase, gaining a verified patch in the process. While she essentially posts the exact same video of herself in an exotic car, flaunting fistfuls of cash and cursing out her haters, the 9-year-old will hopefully learn from her actions because her mother has been fired from her job as a result of the videos. The Blast is reporting that Tay's mother and manager, Angela Tian, was let go from her position as a realtor at a Vancouver firm because of her involvement in her daughter's profane videos. Jim Liu, the director of business development for the Pacific Place Group, issued a statement on the firing confirming, quote, "When we found out about this activity last week, we had to dismiss her. There's no place for this sort of activity in our industry. Angela has only been a realtor with our brokerage firm for 6 months." Thank God. Who is this? Who is this? The Pacific Place Group. Thank God somebody is defending the integrity of real estate agents. Oh, what a hollowed profession real estate agency is. So selective, the real estate agency field. Is it just South Florida where literally everyone you know has their real estate license? I don't think anybody in South Florida doesn't have a real estate license. Every single person. You're born and you get a real estate license. I have a real estate license. I don't even know how I got it. I apparently took a class at some point when I was in high school, and now I have a real estate license. It's just like a reflexive thing for anybody over the age of 25. You have the doctor bonk you on the knee, and you say, like, hey, I actually know a place in your neighborhood. Do you want to go take a look? Lil Tay's mom. Oh, my God. Fired from her day job. All right, let's get into these fucking jukebox torture. First and foremost, thank you to everybody who sent me the John Mulaney Salt and Pepper Diner stand-up bit. A couple of you guys did that hilarious bit where he talks about an experience where he did some very, very similar stuff. We begin with Waffleophagus. Waffle writes, best jukebox loop, first off, hands down, is Who Let the Dogs Out? Either that or Sandstorm. I would say Who Let the Dogs Out's probably better, if only because I lived through that. Here's another South Florida thing. The Miami Dolphins used to play that song up to 30 times a game. They would play it at the beginning. They'd play it for every sack. They'd play it for every broken up, every pass that was knocked down, every interception, every touchdown. Doesn't matter. The Miami Dolphins would play, Who Let the Dogs Out? Ho, 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 ho. So I know how it is to be annoyed with a lot of other people while Who Let the Dogs Out plays repeatedly. And I will say that I will co-sign on that in terms of jukebox torture. Brett writes, jukebox songs. In the common room in my college, I'm in the UK, so that's 16 to 18, had a jukebox until my buddy Charlesworth Of course, the common room in the UK was populated by a Charlesworth. Is there anything more British? I was in my common room when my buddy Charlesworth... I'm sorry, is it racist that that's that funny? I find that so funny. Also, the Charlesworth doesn't have a nickname. He's 16 to 18 years old, but he's not Charlie. He's not Chuck. He's not C-Bomb. He's Charlesworth. So anyway, back to Charlesworth. He found the Imperial March from Star Wars and proceeded to look it for a complete hour. It was promptly removed. But then he found Bird is the Word, which also fits the description of the big start by having a nice, loud, a cappella nonsense opening, which if you have not heard, that's the Bird's the Word. Bird. He looped it for an hour for 4 days in a row. They then removed it from the jukebox. Coincidence? I think not. Father Jr. says that he's friends with a Wadsworth. What are the best names you can put in front of Worth? Charlesworth, Wadsworth. Like, what are good? Justin Worth doesn't really work. Or does it? JuRY Worth, maybe? That actually kind of works. Jeremy Worth. Jamesworth. Jamesworth sounds like it's an actual pub. Bigglesworth, Drugsworth, Duckworth. See, now we're getting here. All right, email that in. JustinRobertYoung@gmail.com. JustinRobertYoung@gmail.com. Put JuRY in the subject line. Dustin writes, I would say that the Proclaimers, I'm going to be, a.k.a. 500 Miles, or Four Non-Blondes, What's Up? But he adds, that's just because it's his most hated song. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I said, hey. Now, here's where I really want to spend some time. Because amongst everybody emailing in about their favorite jukebox torture, there were a couple people that had very specific stories. $1 William writes, when I was in college, Born to Run was my go-to. The key, in my mind, was it needed to be a song that people really loved the first time. He adds, pro strat. I always made the fifth play something different, like Savage Garden's I Want You, to give people hope. But that was over before Born to Run came crashing back 6 more times. But what $1 William goes on to say is that his favorite songs to play repeatedly were songs at Waffle House. Now, this is going to be a great sociological experiment because for many of you, the idea that the Waffle House, a chain, 24 hours, would have a jukebox seems regular. All right, it's kind of a diner. But anybody from the South who has been to several Waffle Houses will tell you that the Waffle House jukebox is stocked almost completely with songs about the Waffle House. For example, as $1 William pointed out, his favorite song to put on is entitled The Waffle House Doo-Wop. And it sounds a little something like this.
Way back in the 50s, so long ago, there were 2 dreamers, their names Tom and Joe. They built a business to last, with hard work their motto, good food fast, Waffle House.
They're all about the fucking Waffle House. All of them. All of them are about the Waffle House. We also had Jason write in, if you want to make somebody angry with a Waffle House, head to your local, or angry with a jukebox, head to your local Waffle House. Among the regular top 40 hits and old country songs are a wide variety of Waffle House songs like the Waffle House Doo-Wop and 877,739 ways to eat a hamburger at Waffle House. Again, real songs that are all competently made, by the by. They just happen to all have to do with the Waffle House. Here's 877 ways to eat a hamburger.
I was minding my own business late one afternoon, just driving home from work like I always do, when the pains of hunger hit me pretty hard. Lucky for me, I didn't have to go far, turned in the parking lot, stopped my car right under the big yellow sign of the Waffle House.
Oh, shit. I totally forgot about the Waffle House songs. They're so fucking good. So Jason goes on. At college, I was the DD one late night. My friends gave me jukebox money and paid for the Waffle House dinner as a thank you. I put on a string of Waffle House songs. Less than 30 seconds into the first song, the music shut off. The waitress walks over to our table, puts $1 down, and says, quote, "Because I like you guys, I'm going to give you your money back, but do not ever play those songs in here again." You know how many times these motherfuckers got to hear these goddamn Waffle House songs? How great is that? Jeremy also took this shit to the next level. I was living with two gals, and one night they both had gentleman callers who ended up staying the night. This was not a problem until the next morning. While the ladies had gotten up and left for work, their shiftless paramours had not. Meanwhile, as the only person ready to leave for work myself, I didn't feel comfortable leaving those two people alone because I didn't know them. Knowing that they were both undoubtedly hungover from the previous night, I went for an especially abysmal combo for somebody in such a state. Namely, the accordion music and high-pitched falsetto singing courtesy of the Tiger Lilies, Shock-Headed Peter, on repeat over and over and over again until they left the house. Put yourself in the position of these two guys. They had an amazing night. They both got laid. They are luxuriating in a stranger's bed. But oh no, the bill has come due. It's time to fuck right off. And this, friends, is the soundtrack.
And as he found it, Hopper fellow, he took with him his green umbrella. When it would noise a little wag, he came out and waved his flag. And William came in jacket trim and brought his wooden hoop with him.
Just get the fuck out.
His toys and joined the other bully boys. Well, those silly bully boys, they're gonna lose more than their toys. Well, those silly bully boys.
All I can imagine is just this song on repeat. Just like, and then like, just when you think that it's going to be over, all you hear is.
Phones with rage. Just look at him on this very stage. He sees his office.
Fucking amazing work. Amazing work by Jeremy. So, all right, here's the new rule with Jukebox Torture. We will still read Jukebox Torture emails, but we got to have different takes on it. We can't, no more just song names. We got to have stories to make it on the show. That's the new rule. Sunny, Sunbun wrote in. Hey, what's up, YouTube fam? At some point during last week's JuRY podcast, I was designated the Diamond Club's representative of the Chinese community. So I figured I'd drop in and say, hi, first time, long time. I'm writing from the great city of Torrance, California, what I consider my birthplace and hometown for the better part of a quarter century, and also the location of the first Yellow Fever restaurant. Went to high school here a decade ago. I was awkward and pudgy. Everyone was ultra competitive. Demographically, it was a good 40-40-20 split of whites, Asians, mostly second-generation Chinese, Taiwanese, and Koreans, and everybody seemed to get along. One of the terms we used and mutually understood was yellow fever. We used it to describe somebody non-Asian having an affinity for Asian culture or somebody who had a crush on Asians. We watched a lot of anime. We didn't consider it derogatory. Flash cut to last month. Whole Paycheck opened up one of their budget-friendly supermarkets, 365, in Long Beach. They also happened to invite the owners of Yellow Fever, a rice bowl joint which opened their first spot in Torrance almost a half a decade ago, to open their third location in the new 365. Some reported that Whole Foods opened the Yellow Fever. This is wrong. Then the internet caught wind of it. The internet got offended for me and sent me a bunch of that one overused GIF where there's a loading bar that says internet hug loading. Here's the problem. I'm not offended. If you grew up in Torrance, you understood the coexistence of different cultures often clashing in the South Bay, LA area. I believe Kelly Kim and her husband are of the same mindset. They opened 2 Yellow Fevers with no fanfare and no outrage. Maybe the rule of threes applies here. I don't know. Fuck. Everyone needs to sit the fuck down. It's a cute name. It's a clever name. If you're ever in the South Bay, LA area, the better of the 2 South Bays that I've lived in. Sorry, San Jose. Unsolicited shot at San Jose. Always appreciated. Stop in and try. Oh, man. Oh, man. I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm going to pronounce a Korean. I think it's a Korean dish. Stop in and try their bibimbap. Is it a bibimbap? I'm sure all the Asians are going to laugh at me. They're all going to laugh at me because I don't know how to say bibimbap. They call it the Soul Bowl at Yellow Fever, which is also very clever, Sunbun concludes. He also says, P.S. the Utah girl wearing the cheap how dress, let her be, kids are dumb. This kind of underscores what I was going for last week. I don't understand why we draw these kind of culture lines for other people. So, and this works both ways. If somebody says that something's fucked up, I think you should listen to them. But if somebody says that something's not fucked up, you should wait for it, listen to them. So, I really do, I feel for Sunbun, because it's like, all of a sudden, he's getting all these replies like, man, fucked up, right? And you're like, I don't know. No, not really. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Also, I didn't look this up, but are they keeping the Yellow Fever in the or did Whole Foods back down? I guess we'll have to follow up on this one. Here we go. This is a Washington Post story. Kelly Kim and her husband wanted the name of their new Pan-Asian restaurant to stand out, eschewing bland and stereotypical phrases like bamboo, dragons, and lotus. And then it hit them. Yellow Fever. That's memorable, Kim recalls saying to her husband, Michael, before they opened their first location in late 2013 in a Saturday interview with the Washington Post. After Wednesday's opening of their third location in a Whole Foods 365 in Long Beach, it may be memorable in a different way. The announcement triggered national outcry on social media, with many criticizing the name's racist undertones. Yellow Fever, the Washington Post writes. I don't because maybe when I'm criticizing the Washington Post, it just sounds like it should be in the Rush Limbaugh voice. Yellow Fever, writes the lady journalist of the Bezos Washington Post. This is Bezos on Bezos crime, huh? The Bezos paper writing about the Bezos the Bezos grocery chain. Yellow fever is a mosquito-borne infection that kills thousands every year, mostly in Africa, and is named for the jaundice hemorrhage that the virus produces. The phrase is also a common reference to a term associated with a white man's sexual fascination with Asian women. A white man's sexual fascination with Asian women. Kim, who said that before this week the name wasn't an issue, did not take the term to have an overtly sexual or negative meaning, adding that it's more nuanced than what the critics have said. The term implies, quote, an attraction or affinity for Asian people or Asian things, such as Korean pop music or karaoke. Kim said, I never took it to have a deeper meaning. It's a little tongue-in-cheek, but I never saw it as offensive or racist or anti-feminist. Oh, they hit her with anti-feminist, too? Yeah, I guess if I were to tally up all the times that I've heard the phrase yellow fever referenced, it's been mostly with, well, I mean, I don't know if it's only white guys. It's all non-Asians for sure. And I guess I've heard it more about Asian women, but I never thought of it as an exclusively gendered term. Kim, who's also the executive chef of Yellow Fever, says she discussed the charged nature of her restaurant's name with Whole Foods, but could not recall if her partners or the company raised an issue. Austin-based Whole Foods did not return a request for comment. The company lists Yellow Fever and another store, Groundwork Coffee, as friends of 365, a Whole Foods program in which local businesses are provided a space inside the store to draw more customers. We should also point out here, and this I feel like if we're going to play racial politics, they should have also pointed out, in case you were, you didn't put two and two together, but Kelly Kim is Asian. So, like, I feel like in the world of who can say what, you should probably mention that the lady who did the thing is somebody who could say the thing. But maybe it's not different. Maybe a phrase is a phrase is a phrase. TVC God. They were speaking Asian. It was some kind of Asian gang. Cable Guy. Such an underrated movie. So there we go. I'll tell you what. A big shout out to Sunbun for writing that in. I got a hard time getting offended if people are telling me that they're not offended. I guess that's all I'm saying. Finally, Michael writes, I had the extraordinary opportunity to witness a sky burial in Tibet. We had mentioned sky burials on the last episode. It was while I was studying abroad in China in 2013. I traveled with a student group to Tibet, where we visited several Tibetan Buddhist monasteries. One of these, unbeknownst to us until we arrived, was the famous sky burial monastery. The, JuRY Monastery. We were told that no photos were allowed, but it would be tremendously disrespectful to have your phones out. What we were able to see, in addition to the inner rooms of the palace where about 100 monks worshipped, was a sky burial through a chain link fence. The site was about the size of a baseball diamond, and in the middle was a large stone circle, about the size of a pitcher's mound, where the bodies would be laid out. We arrived about an hour after a body had been placed on the stones. By the time that we got there, only small bits and pieces were left. We could see patches of blood and a few scraps here and there. Ominously, on the hill behind the site were a pack of very large vultures, which sat and waited, peering into the sky burial grounds, waiting for the next body to be laid out. The vultures only ate the larger pieces, while the smaller bits were left for crows. For those Tibetan Buddhists, a sky burial is an extremely high honor. Very few have the privilege of being given back to the earth in this manner. We were supposed to interview a monk whose job it was to prepare the bodies for the burial. He said that while the work was unique, he viewed it as his dharma/role and his sacred duty to perform the prep work. He wore an apron spotted with blood over top of the traditional red Buddhist monk garb. Thank you, Michael, for writing in with that. it's kind of amazing. Like I had always thought whenever I described it when I was a kid that I wanted to be eaten by wild animals, I'd always thought of it. I explained it on a baseball diamond. That's what I told you guys like 2 weeks ago. Turns out maybe I need to report to a monastery. That might be the way to go. All right. Tom is not available, but we do have a special treat for you guys. We are going to call. I got another email this week saying that we need to do a full interview with somebody that I mention on this show a lot. She is a good friend, somebody that I used to work with at the Go Game, and now, if you have noticed that any of the shit I am doing is A, happening, or B, happening better than it used to happen, it is because of the woman that we are about to talk to. And that is Tamar. Tamar, welcome to the show, Tamar. If you have noticed that any of the shit I am doing is turn down your radio, caller. Tamar, are you there?
I am.
All right, here we go. How you doing?
Good.
What do you think about yellow fever, the restaurant, not the disease, and possibly the racial undertones?
It reminds me of a colonial-themed restaurant in Portland that got a lot of crap.
What was that?
Oh, it was called Saffron Colonial, and it was all about like the British colonies and like romanticizing British colonialism.
Oh. I mean,
and it was a woman who had been in Hong Kong running bakeries.
So it got in trouble because of the sins of the British Empire?
Yeah, and how she had like things about plantations and romanticizing stuff. So she changed the name now to, it's like British something with an O Restaurant Corporation, and it's called Bork. B-O-R-C.
So, I mean, but that, I mean, like that name isn't hooray for the British Empire. It was all great, right? Like that's...
It just seems like people were very offended. Like there were a lot of protests about it like there were physical protests outside.
Yeah.
And people were really upset. And so she changed the name, and I guess the protests stopped.
Yeah.
So it makes me think, like, is it really just the name? Like, is it really just the name? Like, that's what's bothering you.
Like, and also, why don't they protest Britain? Like, I mean,
right.
It's not like that went away, right? Like, I mean, certainly the whole sun never sets and the blood never dries thing is kind of past, but it's not like they don't have a military anymore.
Right. And, you know, they're still Australia and places that have the Queen on their money.
Yeah, right?
I don't know. I'm more offended by it being like a thing that's a disease that kills people.
Yeah.
That happens to also be about being sexy toward people of a particular race. Like that seems weirder than naming a restaurant that.
I feel like, yeah, you should get credit for the idea that you named the place where you eat after a disease that can kill you. So
right.
like
that would be like if you liked people of like I don't know, if like malaria is a problem in like sub-Saharan Africa, if you had a thing for people from sub-Saharan Africa and you said like, I have malaria.
Well, that just seems confusing. That just seems like
that
just seems like that could really
sexual attraction or a dating attraction after any disease is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But no one's focusing on that. They're focusing on their racism.
I mean, but is it like I don't know. I'm so kind of torn about this because my instinct is, and you tell me whether or not this is kind of a cop-out, my instinct is y'all handle it. Like, I don't really feel like I have tremendous stake in the debate, but I don't know whether or not that's me not being sufficiently woke.
You might not be sufficiently Asian to have an opinion.
Yeah. No, I guess that's my thing is it's like, if I'm not Asian. Like, I don't know if I should be like my thing is like I'll go with whatever you guys decide. I'm the guy in the back of the car that doesn't have an opinion on whether or not we go to Burger King or Wendy's. I'm like, whatever, just you guys pick. That's fine. I'll back your play.
Right. Yeah, I think like the biggest question for you might be like, can I eat there?
I mean, apparently it's pretty good. Sunbun said it was pretty good, so who knows?
Okay, well, there you go.
Also, do you know how to pronounce bibimbap?
Bibimbap.
Bibimbap?
Bibimbap.
One more
it's
time.
It's like B-O-P at the end, not B-A-P.
Well, it was written as B-A-P, but I don't know.
Can't help you there.
All right. Do you have an opinion on a song that would be played repeatedly at a jukebox? Is there one song?
Yeah, I was thinking it's like the end song from Grease. Like, You're the One That I Want. That would be like my personal hell, that if I wanted to make other people live in personal hell would be possibly any song from Grease, but also that one in particular.
All right. All right. Another thing that everybody should email about, Justin R. Young. Sorry. Oh, my God. Justin R. Young on Twitter. JustinRobertYoung@gmail.com. Again, that is JustinRobertYoung@gmail.com. Put JuRY in the subject line. Rank the songs in Grease based by annoyance. We want to get a full definitive ranking on annoyance of the songs from Grease. But you're saying that the end, that You're the One That I Want is a number one, or do you have other contenders?
I think it might be number one for both content and form. Like, that's the song where Sandy has to become slutty to get
she like sluts
John
it up.
Travolta.
Yeah. Well, then they like fly off in a car, right?
There's no good things about this song.
Although it does introduce a very radical last-second science fiction premise to what is an otherwise very grounded story, right?
Yes, I that might be the highlight of the movie, that this is all like not in the real world.
Yeah.
That would make me feel better.
You don't have to slut it up to get the attention of your dirtbag summer fling.
Right. That it would be nice to know that that's not supposed to be here on Earth.
Or maybe that they invented a tremendous technological breakthrough, and the rest of the...
If there's something to be said for having to like give up everything that you are for a guy, but you do get flying cars, then we can talk.
Would you sacrifice all of your morals and principles if it meant you getting a flying car? That's another good question.
And a flying
that
like
everybody
Cadillac
should ask.
or a flying like cool car, not like a flying, Nissan Sentra.
Yeah. Ip's verse in the chat says, I don't think it was a sci-fi flying car. It was a magic flying car. Debatable. I don't know. It's not really explained. Do you think the car that flew away at the end of Grease was science or magic?
What about in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang? I mean, if you're talking flying cars, magic or sci-fi?
Well, that one, at least like that plays into the plot, right?
Right. I'm just saying, like, you could start looking at flying cars and start questioning your reality a lot more.
I mean, because I would say that's more magic. But I guess, like, there's no... Because it plays such a small part at the end of that movie, like, you don't know whether or not one of the greasers, like, slips a plutonium rod in the in the tailpipe of that car, and that's what makes it fly, right? Because that would be science fiction.
It is the 50s.
Or, yeah, exactly. Or if, like, one of the pink ladies, just twitches her nose like fucking Samantha in Bewitched, and that's why it flies, which would be magic. We don't know. Taz the Man says that the Harry Potter car is literally magic. And Stoic Squirrel in the chat room complains that we're spoiling Grease. So, yeah, good point. Spoiler alert for Grease. There's a flying car in the last
that changes shot. Everything.
Yeah, exactly. Really, everything is turned on its head. It's like the last shot from Inception. It changes the entire reality of the story based on the flying car.
Yep.
Tamar, is there any other? Here's you are a mom. If you had the choice of either your 13-year-old son becoming an internet sensation with using language that you would not approve of, or you responding to an audition, what would you prefer of those two paths?
I'm going audition because you bringing up the idea of like practicing running lines with swearing.
Yeah.
Would be like, I could teach my kid to swear like well and with the proper emphasis. That would be meaningful.
So that would be it would be even if it was stuff that you didn't necessarily agree with, it would be a bonding experience that would be worthwhile. Or
I
at
think
least
so.
preferable.
I also think that I would do like hard pass on any N-words. So like you could control that more if there's a role, I think.
Oh, so you're saying like you can at least fight with the people that are paying you.
Yeah, like if he's doing it behind my back and he's saying whatever he wants, I have like zero anything, and he could be saying some like really horrible stuff.
Yeah.
Not just like I'm trying to talk like a rapper, but like really horrible. Versus if it's like in a script, you know, my theoretical underage son who has not gotten emancipated,
Yes.
and I can still make decisions for. I can, you know, decide what I want him to say or not, or how to say it.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I feel like that's definitely what people are probably going to say the most. But also, like, if you again, this is the reality that we are painting here. Is you are just go watch a Lil Tay video, and that's the script that gets emailed to you the night before.
Right. Yeah, I still think I would rather have a script for like my son being a male Lil Tay.
Yeah.
I could even call my older one Lil Tay. Like he has Tay in his name. I could start having another Lil Tay, a littler Tay.
Yeah. And yes, as Beeler pointing out in the chat, we are talking about all N-words like November.
Right, any N-words. Any of them.
Newfie, Nugs. Tamar, thank you so much for wrapping the show up today.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I look forward to hearing Tom next week, but I'm happy to pinch it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tamar! And that about wraps it up for this version of the Justin Robert Young Show. Please remember to go ahead and email us, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. You can follow me on all social media at Justin R. Young. That is Instagram. That is Snapchat. That is Twitter. Go check out my Instagram story. I got a lot of show you the stage and everything from the TDE show. It was a really, really, really well done thing, and it was sports themed. They sprang for old sports clips, including Schoolboy Q coming out in a golf cart wearing golf attire and then just randomly playing out of context clips of Tiger Woods, which was amazing. There's nothing that made me happier than watching one of my favorite rappers and then also seeing vintage clips of Tiger Woods. It was great. You can go ahead and check that out on my Instagram, Justin R. Young. But until next time. Ladies and gentlemen, if you find yourself getting fired because your child keeps saying the N-word on Instagram, if you find yourself discovering all 877,739 ways to eat a hamburger at a Waffle House, if you find yourself face deep in a soul bowl at Yellow Fever, well, remember, ladies and gentlemen, that it is your old pal Justin Robert Young reminding you to please don't.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.